and the value as well. So this is also available. So again, the type of chart, of course, you can change the type of chart, change chart type. By right click on that, you can change the chart type as well, right? I want the pie graph. Pie is again used by many of the things. Today, most of the people uses this kind of a pie. This is how the pies are used, pie charts are used. I want for all, including December, you can see that value. I want month-wise filter, not year. Put the year here, month from top to bottom as well. So I get this 3. You can see the pie chart is split into 3. If you want date-wise, put the date-wise below. Date-wise, you can see the chart, how the date-wise it has been split. And you can see the value. Right? I want date and the month, drag and drop. This is the date and the month. Right? So date doesn't have a meaning, so put it back. Month have a meaning. I want year-wise, you can put year-wise. So this graph, the way you can filter, it is purely available for you. I want month column-wise, that is purely for the text format. So you can have month-wise as well. Right? So the way you decide your chart is purely in your hand. So that is now about charts, simple charts, how to manage a simple charts. So the next important thing is macro, that we are going into macros. Any questions on charts, please let me know so that we can move further. Any questions on charts, please put it. If you are fine, please raise your hand if you are comfortable. We move on to macros now. I am going to go with the first settings of macro, then before I go to the actual macro. Raise your hand if you are all fine with this charting. Okay, if you are not comfortable, please put your questions. If you want anything to be repeated, put it in your question. Perfect. So no questions. I'll proceed further now. I save this file. I save this file in my right. So I now open one more file, new. We are into now so-called macros. So the most important thing for macros are, these are all some of the, first is initially how to enable the macro. How do I manage the macro? Enabling the macro is a most critical part in macro. First we'll go with that before we get into the next subject. This developer, you can see in the top there is a developer. This developer is enabled only if I install certain packages. That is called Visual Basic application. Visual Basic for application is a add-on I need to install. If I install that, then only this developer will get enabled. By default, it will not be there as part of the Excel sheet. So to enable this, first is I need to go into Excel option. You can see here there is an Excel option. Right? In this Excel option, I am selecting the Excel option here below. In this option, you have to go to the Trust Center. Before I do that, I go to, since I have enabled it, it is not appearing over here. Okay, first this trust center we have to add on to the initially there will be a setting for to enable the macro. In trust center you have to enable that macro here. It is right now it is not available because I have already enabled it. Because of that it is not available over here. I'll give in the class notes, I'll give exactly the names that you need to change so that it is easy for you. Okay, I come here, trusted locations, activate macro settings. Okay, it is available over here. So go to trust center settings. In trust center settings, select macro settings, enable all macros, trust access to VBA project object model. So these two you have to enable it. It is very dangerous, but you need to choose this. Once you choose this, you get this developer icon enabled. In this developer icon, record macro will be disabled usually. In this developer icon, record macro is default disabled. To enable the record macro, so first is getting this developer menu. That is the first job. To get the developer menu, you have to go to Home, Excel options. Under Excel options, Trust Center, Excel options. Under Excel option, Trust Center settings. Under Trust Center settings, macro settings. In macro settings, you have to by default the disable all macros without notification will be there. You have to enable it. Trust access to VBA project object model. These two you need to enable first. This is the starting point for starting the macro. Once you do this, you will get this developer icon over here. Right? This developer icon will appear in the menu. Once the developer icon appears, once you select the developer icon, by default this record macro will be disabled. Generally it is disabled. So if to enable this record macro, again you go here, again you go to Excel options, add-ins, select the add-ins, right? In this add-in, you have to choose Analyze Toolpack VBA, Internet Assistant VBA. These two you can select, or you can select this. Click on Go button. Click on Go button. Right? I have chosen now Analyze Toolpack VBA, Internet Assistant VBA. These three I have selected. You can select all or you can keep it whatever I have selected. You click on OK. Once you click on OK, you need to have an installer of Microsoft Excel in your CD. That Excel CD you should have. During installation, VBA, you can also enable the VBA access. So there is he will ask for to enable the VBA access, you can enable that as well. So it is applicable for all. There is one big question asked. So this is the question. I'll try to put this question. It's a big question. I try to copy it over here. Right. So before I copy that, is this clear on? So first is we need to do this. Click OK. It will go for an installation. It will allow you to install the particular record macro. Once that is done, once you select it, record macro will get enabled. Right? I'll put it in notepad now, that particular question. It is not allowing me to select. It is not allowing me to copy the question, so I have to reading the question itself will take time. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll take it offline and then I will go through that question and then I will try to answer. It is about grouping. It is about putting the graph properly. So he is talking about quarter 2 2007 to quarter 4 2008 data on hours work for each franchisee, and option to select region is required. So in that way he wanted the data. I think he is having a data. If you have this data, you can send it to me in the Excel sheet. I hope you all having my email ID. You can send it to me in my Excel sheet so I can pass that. I can answer your question. I can reply to the question, or we can discuss that question in the, if you have the data, you can send that in the Excel sheet if it is possible for you to send. My mail ID is this. Then it becomes easier to understand and it will help everybody as well. This is my mail ID. I just reply to all. Any queries, any data that you want me to manage, you can send that data to me. Right? Then we can manage that. Fine. Now we have just enabled the macro here. Right? So enabling the macro, the first step, getting this developer of menu. Second step, getting the macro enabled for this particular worksheet. For that we need to have a VBA installed. You need to have, if you already installed an Excel sheet, you need to have, you need to go to this home, you need to select the Excel option and you need to choose the add-in and you need to choose Analyze Toolpack VBA. This tool you need to choose, click on Go button and it will take you to the next page where you can choose the button and then manage it. Select the options you want, click OK. Once you click OK, it will automatically install that particular add-in over here. Once that is installed, record macro will be enabled. Otherwise, record macro is always disabled. Macro is disabled because to avoid all the viruses. There are a lot of viruses which can be what do you say, you can put it in the form of a macro, right? I like to now record a macro. I like to record a macro here. What is this macro? So record a macro means whatever I do in this particular screen, all this will get recorded and you can replay the macro so that it gets replayed as well. So that is the simple and easiest thing to understand the code, understand the Excel sheet, how the Excel sheet is managing the job. Simple. I'll just put here, what I'm trying to do here is, I'm going to record. Before I record, I'll just explain you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put here again, name here, amount here. I put a name here A, B, C. Put here 100, 150, 140, 120. I like to sum this. This lot I like to do. This is recording. I'm going to do this recording. Once I do the recording, I'm going to delete this sheet. In this sheet, I'm going to do the same activity here through the macro. Macro will replay. When I replay, it will put that all the data that I have typed here. System will do that. First thing, that is to beginners, easy to understand, right? So this is about cell management. I am managing a cell. So let us start with that. And before I do it, I delete this. I am going to record the macro. Before starting the recording, I am placing my cursor to the beginning of the column, cell. I selected the A cell. So in this cell, I am keeping my cursor on that cell. I am selecting now record macro. As soon as I record a macro, it is giving me a macro name, right? I can give any name to this. I say now my first macro, right? For my first macro is my macro name. If I want this macro to be enabled, I can give my short key as well if I want. That we'll see later. Where you want to store the macro. In the beginning of the class, somebody asked what is the personal, some extension of the XLS files. So this personal workbook is a B extension, XLXB, right? So all my macros, I'm storing it over here in the personal workbook. Say, this is my first macro. Now my recording is getting started. So whatever I do now, system will record those entities. I'm going to click OK. It is starting that entry now, right? I now going to type here name, amount, A, B, C, D, amount 100, 120, 130, 100 again, equals sum, colon, selecting the range, copy this. Now I recorded the macro. You can see now stop recording, I stop the macro. That's all. So if I go to the macro list, all these macros will be available, right? If I go to that macro list now, so I'm just a second. I'm going to the macro now. I click on to that macro list. If you see here, my first macro is available here, right? So if I want to edit this macro, you can click on edit. So now I don't want to edit now. That's fine. It is available. Macro is available. So to see, now I do here is I delete this here, right? I deleted the content now from that sheet. I have deleted the content. Now I click on macro, select the macro, now run. Select the macro, click on run. Now you can see it's already drawn that. Unfortunately, this name he has typed it onto the D field. The reason for that is, I'll explain you again. I remove this again. I place my cursor here. Since I place the cursor here, the name is put onto this. If I put the cursor in the first place, right, and then run the macro, my first macro, I run it. Now you can see the proper name, right? I go back to this sheet, sheet 2. I place my cursor over here. It is in F column, right? I now run the macro. Just only a startup of the macro. Actual macro is slightly different. If I just run it, you can see the name is typed in F column. Wherever I kept the mouse there. So I like to edit this macro. I like to see what is inside this macro. So edit now, right? Okay, unable to, cannot edit, it says. Why? What is the reason? Unhide the workbook using the unhide command. Okay. I go to now review, protect sheet or share workbook. No, it is in format cells, I think. Go to insert, format cells, protection. It is not hidden. What is, again I will go back, developer, macro, edit, cannot hide macro on a hidden workbook. He says it an unhide the workbook using an unhide command. Workbook is hidden, he says. How it has got hidden? Yeah. I got this here anyway. So I've gone it into indirect mode. So now you can see here this is the actual macro that it has got. Don't worry, I will explain it more tomorrow. So exactly how to manage it. Now you can see here the first line is activate cell, formula R1C1 name. So that is the reason he is now, wherever your initial click is, he has made there. So what I'll do now, range A1 dot, this is coding, select, right? After this, now I put activate. If I do this in this way, then what will happen is he will automatically take care of mapping that, right? So this is how he is now typing the name. Instead of name, now I give it something here. Say I'll give it as description. You can see that description is typed. Instead of amount, I call it as rate. It will do that. So now A3 select A4. How I can learn this coding? Experience will make you to learn. Actually, this learning is driven by, I'll just explain you that as well. This learning is driven by, if I go to help, is there any help? Visual Basic Object Reference. So Visual Basic Object Reference, Basic Object Model. So if I go to this help, not this, I go to object model F1. Object model reference content, importing data, formatting, macros, Excel macro, of course you can use it. Excel and the web, activate Excel, add-ins, pivot, VB, Visual Basic Object Model. If I select this, macro error, macro save model, run the macro, disable office document, create a macro, format object, Excel object model, sorry, Excel object model, select model, load model, workbook graphics contains command line, external. Every Excel is actually one object actually. Objects. It is not exact. What I want is not coming here. Excel object. File formats that are supported. It is called excel.application. It is not visible directly over here. I will get that exact commands and then I will update you on that. So anyway, now we will not waste our time onto that. So this coding is coming from Visual Basic, sorry, Excel object model. So Excel object model will help you to learn about this, right? So that is how it is very easy, provided you understand the exact the modeling of Excel. That's fine. Now what I was telling you is, now if I do, we have changed that Excel, we have changed that particular macro. I now delete this, I go to developer, Now I run the macro. Even though I place now the macro in some other place, I run it. Now you can see description here, rate here, and all other things. So it is now changed because you have changed inside the code. So it is now changed the values. So this is possible. I can also create my own macros as well. So how to create that? That we'll see tomorrow. That is Monday class. How to create my own macros, how to take in that, anyway I have to take the object model. I will help you with that object model as well. Right? So currently I am not able to get exactly the nomenclature what is used in this particular version of Excel sheet, but I can get that, not an issue. Right? So that's about object model. Sorry, macros. Beginning to just start with the macro. What is macro? So there are some questions. Is there any questions? You can just let me know. Macro is very useful command if I want to manage certain activity which is not manageable through your pivot table or anything else. I want to manage something automatically. For example, I was telling you dynamically the pivot table will not change dynamically. So what I need, I'm entering the sales data in this, automatically some other sheet in some other place, automatically I want that to be updated, the consolidation to be updated. Or I want to fetch the consolidation automatically from that to here. All this can be managed through macro. We'll try to give an example in next day's session. Right? So any other questions, please let me know. So we have just given summaries today's session. We started with charts, different charts we have seen, but lot of other charts you need to see for yourself. Then we have just given an introduction to macro. First is enabling the macro, and then developer menu. Within the developer menu you have macros. Second, enabling the record macro feature through installing the VBA. This is what we have seen in today's session. So anything else, any questions, I can answer you. Otherwise we can